are going into Lead 300 for the first time. Others, you're at different places in your career journey, but this session will be very informative. So at the conclusion of our time today, our goal is for you to be informed, to be enlightened, and really any questions that you may have about credit for prior learning, that they'll get answered in this session. So a quick overview of our time this evening will include meeting your instructors. So all of our instructors who are experts around credit for prior learning, some of them you will hear from in this session, and you'll get the opportunity to meet some current students as well. You also learn some new terms and acronyms. So PLA, Prior Learning Assessment, and CPL, Credit for Prior Learning, amongst many others. So you will come to know, again, these key terms and acronyms. Again, you will gain a really good foundational understanding of credit for prior learning. You all have so much experience and so much about your work background that is really meaningful and useful while being an OLL student. And so our goal is to give you a better understanding of how your training and certificates and work experience all come together to give you credit towards your degree completion. And then at the very end, someone will get the opportunity to win some UofL swag. So we have some gifts to give away to kick off this new year. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to my colleague, Mr. Roger Buskill, who will take it from here. Roger, the floor is yours.
Well, hello, everyone. So I guess you could advance the slide, please. Or should I? Yeah, I guess I could introduce the instructors that you'll be coming in contact with in 300. It could be any four of us. I'm not. Of course, I teach the 300. That's one of my basic classes that I teach, and then Elizabeth Krause teaches it also, and Janet Holliday. They're both experts on the military side and PLA also, and of course Tammy Albers, she teaches our 300 class also, and they're all excellent.
And then Roger, Roger, from here, I'll take this slide.
Okay.
So, yeah, I have the pleasure of introducing you guys to some of our Cardinal ambassadors. You'll meet two of them a little bit later in the presentation, but the Cardinal ambassadors are alumni and current students who actually volunteered and advocate for the program. They participate at information sessions. They participate this evening in our PLA sessions, and just overall help prospective students to understand the benefits of returning to college. They provide some tips on how to manage your time as a very busy working adult. And overall, they're just a wonderful group of individuals. Thanks, Roger.
Okay. Hello, I'm Tammy Albers, and I'm going to talk briefly about the terms and acronyms that you can expect to learn in your 300 and 307 class. There's a lot. I think if you can you, Susan, is there one that says the terms? Next slide, maybe.
No, Tammy, they're in the notes section. Yeah.
Yes, I got that. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So I'm just going to go over 7 of them for you all that really are important for you to know going into the class. The first one is going to be PLAD. You're going to hear us talk about that a lot in the class. That's just prior learning assessment documents. Then you're going to hear us talk about APA. That's the American Psychological Association, and that's just a writing form. There's also MLA and APA. And then you're going to hear us talk about your HAT, Hallmark Assessment Task. And this is, you're going to have a Hallmark Assessment Task in every class that you take in the program. The next thing we're going to talk about, the term is Foliotech. That's a free electronic system that stores your e-portfolio, your PLAD, and then any other projects that you have in the program. There's STE, which stands for Student Transcript Evaluation. You can retrieve that through ULink. There's KSAs. You're going to hear us talk about those a lot in 300 and 307. That's knowledge, skills, and abilities. And then the last one I just wanted to highlight is work specialization credit. That's the total number of hours, college credits that you are requesting through the class. Every student is eligible to request 9 to 48 hours. Okay, I think I'm ready for the next slide. Okay, and I led right into it. So you'll request 9 to 48 credit hours during this class. Now you'll only request the hours that you need. So if you only need 22, we're only going to request 22. We're not going to request the full 48 because you don't need it. So we will work with you in the class and determine how many credit hours you need from your student education plan supplied by your advisor. And then we'll work together and figure out how many hours you need. The bulk of your time in 300 and 307 is going to be spent compiling your PLAD. That's the documents that you put together to request your 9 to 48 hours. And you get that based on learning from your occupational training and experience. Once you are awarded, you will be awarded lower level. So that's any courses, think of them like college credits, 100, 200 level, and then upper level is 300, 400. So if you think of those, you'll be awarded either upper level or lower level. Once it gets awarded, it will show up on your transcript, your U of L transcript, as either LEAD 290 and 291, which would be lower level, or LEAD 390 and 391, which would be upper level. The thing to keep in mind about this is the most important thing is not what you've done and the experience you have, but what you've learned from it. So what you've learned in your experience, in your working experience or training, what you learned from it. Okay, there we go. So helpful tips. So this week you can start getting together your information. You can get your education plan that was provided by your academic counselor. You can go on to ULink and get your STE and go ahead and download that. Then if you're in the military, you can obtain your JST or your CCAF transcript. You can also get your resume together and any unofficial transcripts that you had. Now, things to think about: positions that you've held, training courses you've completed, license or certificates that you hold or you have. If you have a copy of those, go ahead and pull it all together. If your work provides you with an opportunity to print out a training transcript, I know a lot of places do that, go ahead and print that out and be ready for the first class so that you have it and you're ready to go from there. I think we're so these are some helpful tips that apply to not only to this class, but to every class in the program. Starting out, you're going to establish your support system. So those are the people that you can count on, that if you have to work on a project or you have to finish an assignment, that you can either call or just say, hey, I need some help. Could you? We're all working to do it. So we all have a multitude of hats that we wear and juggle. So it just helps you have somebody there you can call and ask for help. So go ahead and establish that, pick out that person, let them know about it, because I know people always, when I went through this program and people always said, let me know if you need any help. But the hardest part was me asking for the help. But if they're already offering, just take them up on it, because they wouldn't offer if they didn't want to help. Then get to know your fellow students. You are probably going to take classes with some of the same students throughout. So go ahead and swap phone numbers, swap email addresses. That way, if you have a quick question and you can't get a hold of a professor, or you want to swap assignments or anything like that, you already have that person that you feel comfortable contacting. And then lastly, ask questions. I know personally in my class, I have office hours every week for an hour, and that's just where I'm online on Teams and people just drop in and ask various questions. talk about assignments. That's what we want. We're here to help you and make you successful. So please take advantage of the resource you have and ask us questions. We don't think you're going to know everything. That's why you're starting the program. So please ask us questions. I think the next one. And then that's APA. I talked about that briefly in the acronyms. This is the American Psychological Association. It's most commonly used in social sciences, and it's used throughout the whole CEHD, the College of Education and Human Development. So every class that you take here, you will use this same writing style, APA. People ask why APA. That's for uniformity and consistency. So from class to class, you know what to expect. You know how to cite your sources. You know how to set up your papers, everything like that. So that's why we chose the APA, and that's why we use it for uniformity and consistency. Next slide. It's Roger. I'll turn it over.
Okay, turn my mic on. I'm going to go over a little bit how the course is laid out. We use Blackboard, which is our learning management system. And when you get there, you're going to see other things also, but basically all of your assignments are laid out into 12 different sessions. And depending upon the duration of the course, you could have a couple of lessons per week, such as in the 8-week format and 10-week format, or you could have in the 16-week format, you could have 2 weeks to complete one lesson maybe. So it kind of depends on which course that you're in and the duration. I know we have a couple of 8-week courses. I'm teaching one of them this semester. So we double up on a couple of the lessons in some of the weeks. But basically, this is how they're laid out. On the left pane there, you'll see lessons 1 through whatever. I can't see my own writing there. My print's kind of small on my notebook, but there will be 12 lessons there. The last 2 lessons, there's really not any content. That's where gives you a couple of weeks at the end of the semester to get everything finalized. But in lesson 1, that shows the contents of lesson 1 on the right pane. So every one of them will have this very same format. They'll have every one of these sections exactly like they are here. Obviously different content though. So there will be the lesson overview, the objectives, the assigned readings. We do have a textbook, and if you haven't ordered it, you should go ahead and get that in right now, because there's a couple of reading assignments that first week. And there's more content in the lessons also, but regardless, they're all laid out exactly the same way. The first half of the semester is you're putting the tools together, learning the tools together to write a HAT paper. And that's the culmination of your work experience that you would write in APA format. So we do a lot of things. We study the APA, we study that style of writing, we study the Kolb style of writing. So we're putting those two together. You can kind of remember this term, scaffolding. We're using this scaffolding technique that one skill builds on the next, builds on the next, builds on the next, until you have all the skills that you need to write the HAT paper. And then we start on all of the investigation that you'll need to do in order to put together your prior learning assessment document, your PLAD. And that's simply a website that you will create using a predefined template. I'm not going to get into that tonight though. Okay, next slide. So our military people are here tonight, so I'll go ahead and handle this part. A lot of information is that the military have. There's going to be mostly similarities, but there are going to be a few differences. So depending upon what branch that you're in or were in, such as the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, you're going to submit, you'll need to get your joint services transcript. As a matter of fact, I'm going to click into the chat and I'm going to paste in, it's quite a long list there, but it'll give you all the links that you need to either request your JST or go to the website where you can, if you've already got the account set up. So, like I say, the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, they're all very similar. Air Force is a little different. They use Community College of the Air Force transcripts. And that's there's a link in there also to get that. So the important part about these sites is they've already been articulated for college credit, upper and lower level. You don't have to do that. If you have a 3-hour class that U of L did not grant credit for, you can use that in the training method of the PLA, and all you have to do is cite it for your transcript. In on the there's going to be a lot of forms that you'll be filling out, and we'll get into that whenever you start taking the class. Okay, so just some helpful hints now. So this deals with what I previously dealt with training. This deals with work experience, your experience in the military. So a rule of thumb is for your work experience in the Army, if you were E1 to E5, those are probably occupational experiences at the lower level credit, and anything above that would be might be considered upper level credit. It's just part of the longevity of your military. You as you proceed in rank, you'll get more and more responsibilities, and above E5, you're probably going to get more upper level experience. Now, these aren't absolute. The level of credit is going to depend more on the position and the responsibilities than on the rank. But those are kind of rule of thumb pieces of information. But if you take a look at the links that's in the chat, that can take you to the correct place to get your training guides. And it looks like now we have some Cardinal ambassadors, so I'll pass this off.
We'll jump in here, Roger. It's Susan Hildebrand. I want to introduce Alex O'Neill and Lieutenant Andrew Westcott. Both of these fine gentlemen are students and are also Cardinal ambassadors. And Alex, I think you're on the phone with us. If you can let me know, that'd be terrific. And Andrew, I think you put in the chat that you're having some issues, particularly maybe with Teams tonight. But what we'd like for you to do, Alex, is primarily talk with our students tonight about your experience in this class and maybe some tips for helping them be successful as well.
All right, can you hear me, Susan?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, I'm going to be on the phone, so I'm not going to be able to pull up anything that I had, unfortunately. But so, like Susan said, I'm currently serving. I'm in the Navy. And coming back into this, I took a lot of time off between high school and college. Didn't know what I wanted, and then found this program and absolutely fell in love. So, was very fortunate to go through Lead 300 with Tammy in summer of last year and got awarded 100% of the credits that I needed based off my transcript. So very fortunate to work with her. She did mention on there when she was talking about the office hours. I will say take advantage of that. During my course, there's plenty of Saturday mornings where it was just me and Tammy sitting on the phone talking for 30 minutes about what was going on. But I will say this, when you initially log into Blackboard, you're going to see everything. You're going to scroll through all the course contents, and you will get overloaded. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of stuff to do. But the instructors will do a very good job in breaking them down into smaller bite-sized pieces and working week by week to get your overall plaid together and be able to submit your hat in Folio Tech. If you would have asked me at the beginning of the class how many pages I would have had, I wouldn't have been able to guess. But when I was all said and done, through everything I had done through the military and outside of the military as far as professional or personal development, I was able to get together a 35-page document that completely walked through step by step everything that I had learned and justified what I had learned in order to get that credit. So I will say, looking at it from a smaller lens versus the bigger picture is going to be a lot easier to digest and get it done.
Thank you, Alex, so much. Andrew, I think you're available. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, we'd love to hear
Oh,
from you as well.
absolutely. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm having some troubles tonight. All this top dollar internet that we have out here in Carrollton, Virginia. And so now I'm stuck on my phone using 5G. Yeah, so Alex pretty much summed it up. And what I'll tell you, I wrote down a couple notes. So I'm a Navy guy too. Been in for quite some time, and I'll put it all out there. So 23 years. Um, I had multiple opportunities through the Navy to take some type of college class. I didn't cash in on it for whatever reason. Life just wasn't time. And so I started putting my toes in the water at age 40. And I started out here in Virginia. That didn't work out too well for me. So then I crossed over to Louisville, and I found this program, and it's perfect. It's just what I needed, right? And it spoke to me because it speaks to our experience, and we get to cash that in for college credits. Staff is super helpful. Every class that I've taken so far is in the UofL pipeline. Just not just 300. Every staff member has been super helpful, wanting to reach out and always asking, "Hey, do you need help? And if you need help, just let me know." Somebody said it before, and being scared to ask for help. I was a victim of that as well, where I felt silly. I felt that because I was older, I shouldn't have to ask for these types of help. I couldn't have been more wrong. Roger, who was my instructor during the 300 course, I think I reached out to him probably about 6 times, and there was many. I think every time I called, he had to tell me to calm down. I was doing just fine. The other part of it is the UofL ambassador. So whenever I was asked to do it, it was a no-brainer. Only because I know what they did for me whenever I was going through the 300 class, right? So whenever I felt intimidated to talk to Roger for whatever reason, I reached out to the ambassadors, and immediately, I think Zach was in Minnesota or Michigan or one of the states that start with an M, and he picked up the phone and walked me through the process and calmed me down again. So can't say enough about that asset. If you're too worried about talking to your professor, feel free to reach out to the ambassadors, because they are absolutely there to help you along the process, because they were doing it too at one point. 2 more things I'll tell you is start building your folder. And I'm sure, when we talk about the plaid and all the documents that you need to put your portfolio together, talking about your achievements, the courses you've been through, the certificates you've gotten, all those things, start putting them in a folder and making you a LEAD 300 thing, if you will. All your LEAD 300 documents in this one folder. I found that helped out a ton. And then the last thing I'll tell you is human nature is going to take over here, and you're going to want the 48 hours. We all do. Roger said that earlier about making sure that you talk with your advisor, right? So make sure y'all are in cahoots and you understand how your credit counts. Because I wanted the 48, and just like Alex, I jumped on my JST and it had all this experience, and then I got taught how to write to it. And so, I wanted the 48, but then I had to get it explained to me, like, Andrew, you don't need 48. So that's it. I'll stop right there unless something else wants to, talk about something else.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Alex. We're going to do a Q&A before we finish the session today. So our students may have additional questions. So sit tight, Alex and Andrew. All right. So Randy, Dr. Whetstone, and our faculty that are on the call tonight, we're at this point during the event where we can open up for questions. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen right now.
So yeah, if you have any questions, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, this is Tammy. I thought of something I forgot to say when I was talking about the acronyms and the class. Is this is a different class, and I think Alex talked about it because it's about what you have accomplished. So people don't like to write or talk about themselves, but this class really is all about you. So it's a little different class, but it's a great class to come back and start with, because it kind of eases you back in with something you know well, which is yourself. So that was all I wanted to add.
Yeah, this is Roger. Just to follow up on that a bit, that big paper that you write, your hat, that's a work autobiography. That's the story of your work life and private life for that matter, because you can't really disassociate the two. But I did want to mention one other document that you need right away is your education plan. It's going to specify exactly how many hours that you need to, that you still need, that you, such as so that you don't maybe have to try to get to all that 48. So you might need only 4 upper level and 6 lower level. So you'll know that right away that you need those 10 hours. And you'll know what, if it's upper level or lower level. So that's another important document that you need to get right away. And I think your advisor supplies that for you. So between that and your STE, you can get a really good jump start on your college credit, and then know how much you will need then for your work experience.
And hopefully everyone has the chat open. We do have some questions rolling through there as well, Dr. Whetstone, Roger, Tammy. We have 2 instructors that were not able to attend tonight, so I do apologize. Elizabeth Krause is a Air Force veteran, and she is not available tonight. And we had another instructor, Janet Holliday. Janet is a retired U.S. Army, and I believe, I forgot what level, but a senior HR officer. Pardon?
She's a colonel.
Colonel, I'm sorry, retired colonel. You have some absolutely phenomenal instructors that have been doing this for a long time. And we are here to help you guys. But Roger and Tammy, just want to make sure you see these questions in the chat.
I'm getting to them as quickly as I can.
Lee, did you have a question?
I do. I definitely understand that JSTs help document detailed training. For those of us that were entrepreneurs, and I do have some licensure, but more of the experiential learning, how does one document that in their, what do we call it, a plaid? Things that were 20 years of work experience, but doesn't necessarily have a certification or licensure associated with it.
You want to take this one, Tammy?
I'll let you. I'm trying to answer the chat questions if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can sure handle that. Most any work experience is going to count. You just will need to classify that as upper or lower level credit, and you do that by your. There's another site that you will go to. That will, it's a compilation of all the occupations that you could ever think of. And it's called ONET. So you find your job on ONET, and it's going to specify whether that job is upper level or lower level. And if it's lower level, for each year that you've been on that lower level job, you could request 2 college credit hours if it's within your work specialization. If it happens to be an upper level job, then you can request 4 credit hours for per year of that job. So If you've had a lot of work experience, you can see where that could really mount up. But it all starts again with your education plan. So you need to first define exactly how many hours that you need and if they're upper level or lower level. Well, you want to try to do training first because that's the low hanging fruit. So any certifications that you have, any training records that you have, and if you can't verify that, you will need to use the a 15-to-1 ratio. So every 15 contact hours of training could equal 1 credit hour. But you still need to have some certification that will prove that. So it's like a trust but verify. So you would go after that training first. In fact, we cover the training first in class, and then we start looking into the job experience. So whatever you can't get in the training now, let's move into that job experience. And if it's say you've had 20 years experience, but you never did quite have an upper level job, but you had done upper level work because you've been in that organization such a long time and they've given you a whole lot more duties. It's possible then to maybe with your supervisor's authority might be able to award you a little bit of upper level credit because you might have been doing some work that would be upper level. You just didn't have the job title. So that's where you work with your instructors, and they'll be they will be able to craft this thing and help you through that. So you get the low-hanging fruit first, which is the training, and you only have to write just about a paragraph about what you've learned from the training because you've already had the training. You have to write a little bit more. So for every 1 credit hour of work experience, that's one page of writing, and you'll do that in a particular style of writing that we go over the first part of the semester also. So it's if you've had some work experience, it can mount up pretty quickly. There again, the key is, I can't state it enough, is to get that education plan to get you started on the right track.
Yes, sir. I do have my education plan, and I've been an entrepreneur for 23 years in 4 different tracks to include a nonprofit. So I was just wondering, how does one document experience where they were not supervised?
That's a great question. Entrepreneurs, that's a lot of that's going to be upper level job experience. You might not have had the training, or you could have had some certifications, and that's fine. Sometimes entrepreneurs will get maybe a SHRM certification. Well, we accept that as upper level training, depending on the level that you get from SHRM. So there's some certifications that you can use for sure as far as training is concerned. But entrepreneurs, that means you've owned your own business. Mm-hmm. You're a manager. Mm-hmm. And we can usually kind of convert that to upper level credit. I'll give you the education term. It depends, and that's where you work with your instructor, and they'll do everything they can to maybe help you get some upper level credit if you need it.
Thank you.
I believe we have Christopher with your hand up. Christopher, did you have a question, sir?
Yeah. So I've attended UofL in the past. I've actually got like something where around 138 credit hours already, but still haven't finished my degree, which is where I found this program, and here I am now. But so my question is, how does that work, having all those credit hours already with what you guys were talking about, like trying to get 9 more, 48 more, when I don't need any more lower level? Okay. All I need is the 36.
That means you're in really good shape. That means that if your education plan calls for 0 credit hours, you still have to request 9. That's just a stipulation of the course. You still have to request 9. You're not going to get the 9, but you go through a different route. And you can talk about that with your instructor. You don't have to prove anything. All you have to do is request 9 training credit hours on a form, and then fill out a different type of specialization credit request, and bang, you've passed the class. Now you still have to go through everything else. You still have to write the paper. There's a lot of other things that you don't have to do, but you don't have to prove any training or any job experience. So you've got a much easier road to hoe, if you will.
Okay, and I can use like I'm a ROTC cadet instructor. I can use like training from that, where I've taught cadets and everything else for this kind of thing.
What you would do is any 3-credit-hour class that you've had on your SDE, because I'm assuming you've submitted your transcripts to UofL, so you will have a student transfer evaluation. You pick 3 of those 3-credit-hour classes, put it on the form, and then fill that out on the special, or transfer those hours to the revised specialization credit request form, and you're in. You've passed the class as long as you do all the other required work.
Roger, gotcha. Thank you.
So were there some questions in chat? I see a question there about networking. So for distant students, which we're probably all distant students and faculty, how do we network? Well, there's a lot of ways we can do that. You can actually set up your own Teams meeting and you can network that way. There's a discussion board. Usually we have some type of a internet cafe or something that's like a clearinghouse for all questions that could be related to the course or not. And that's your space then to get in contact with the other students and the instructor. Instructors usually don't moderate that a lot, but we do check on it. So most all the instructors have some type of discussion board that's open for anything, anything that you would tell your mother, maybe.
I want to introduce quickly a guest that we have on our call tonight, Deanna O'Connell. Deanna, if you're here, love for you just to turn your camera on. Deanna just graduated December 2023. Woo! She's a new graduate. We're really proud. Deanna is also an ambassador. She is the director of our new mentorship program. Hey, and I think it'd be great, Deanna, for you just to also chime in and maybe talk with our students and maybe new students for their first class, maybe what your experience was like and or potential tips for them.
Sure. I had Roger also, and I had to chuckle. I believe it was Andrew said that he was always like, calm down, because he had to tell me that too. Every Teams meeting, I was like, Roger, I just don't know. But Roger, and I'm sure all the professors are the same, was wonderful with breaking down my job experience, because I did not have a lot of formal certifications or formal training. So I did have to use a lot of job training experience, just like the previous person was talking about. And Roger really helped me with the ONET to really dissect what I was doing. Was it upper level? Was it lower level? And explain what I learned, what my experiences were, and how I used my time on my own business for several years, and used that as part of my credit hours. And I'm sure, I was blessed with Roger. I'm sure all the professors are just as wonderful as he, and they really help you break down those experiences. So if you're like me and you don't have a lot of formal training, don't fret. It's going to be okay. It'll be fine. And once you get into the cold cycle of writing and using those action verbs, it all just comes together. And they're there for you, the professors. We're here for you. So seriously, reach out if you have any questions. I asked Roger the same questions probably 5 times. And every time he was just as patient and as understanding, and it's going to be okay, it's fine. Because when you see 35 pages in front of you, you're overwhelmed. When you break that down into the cycles that he talks about, you begin to understand how to compile it, and before you know it, you're through it. And it's very rewarding to know that time that you spent, that experience, it did pay off. It did. Whether it's upper class credit, lower class credit, it paid off. And just because you may not have a ton of certificates or formal training, you're still going to earn those credits. I'm so excited for you guys. It's going to be fun. Trust me.
Thank you, Dean. I really appreciate it.
Vote on speed dial.
Yes.
I also wanted to add, we have a page. I put the link in the chat. When you go to this page, you want to go to the tab that says Chat with Alum, and you will find the Cardinal Ambassador page. So we have a list of individuals. I don't think Andrew's been added to that page or Alex yet, but there's a lot of alumni out there that actually, they're ready to talk with you and answer any questions that you may have specifically too about this course. But I recommend you always go to your instructors first, right? Reach out to them. They're the best source of expertise for this area. Our alumni are wonderful, and just being more about reassuring you, you know, and keeping the nerves down. This one class has been said, you know, it's been claimed as intense, really intense, not like any other course you're ever going to take, but it's intense in writing. And a lot of us aren't writers. That's where you just have to get used to documenting and writing more. And we're just going to do it in a college level format. That's why we use APA. But you guys are going to make it through. You're going to do great. And I think I want to give you a little boost, because Roger and Tammy will tell you this. If for some reason you're not awarded the college credit you need, right? You have one opportunity to submit an amendment. And Roger or Tammy, do you want to talk about that process?
Yeah, it's called a Plaid Amendment. You're going to spend at least 1 year in this program before you graduate, and maybe longer. So that's 1 more year of work experience. So that's 2 lower level hours or 4 upper level hours. So you can submit a Plaid Amendment right before you take 540 to get those hours. You might have had more training within that time period. So you can call all that together and do like a mini 300 and fill out the proper forms and write the proper essays. And then you submit that to the Plaid committee. I think I'm right. And Tammy, I'm not sure if you're handling any Plaids or not. I know I handle quite a bit of them. The Plaid research.
I do handle a little bit. If they've taken my class, they generally all do their amendment.
Yeah. So it's possible to get more credit hours, but you should wait until right before you take 540 to request that. And as a matter of fact, your advisor will let you know how many more credit hours you need before you take 540, so that you can plan on either doing a Plaid resubmission or taking another couple of hour courses to get your credit hours to graduate. So all is not lost if you don't get the credit hours that you want, that you needed.
I will say, as instructors, we work pretty hard and pretty closely with students to make sure they get the hours they need. I think it's just just people that maybe haven't been in the workforce as long that end up needing to do the amendments. But we don't want to go back to the committee for more than we need. So we do a good job of making sure that you've documented and things like that. But sometimes work experience and just age, sometimes that may be why you have to do an amendment.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Roger. So at the end of the day, you're starting this path to graduation, or you're already in your 6th class, whatever the case may be. And 12 classes is the goal here for probably the majority of you. unless you have one or two general education classes. But we're trying to help you by this accelerated degree program, 12 classes, fully online, asynchronous. Roger did mention our semesters generally are 3. We have a spring, summer, fall. Semesters at UofL are generally 15 to 16 weeks long, but our classes are 7.5, 8 weeks, right? Or 16 weeks. It just depends. So I can't remember the breakdown of the group that's in this chat tonight. Some of you might be in Roger's section, and I think Roger, yours starts January 8th, and I can't remember if your class ends February 27th or not.
Yeah, I've got the 8-week class this time.
Okay. Tammy, you've got a section, correct?
I'm actually not teaching this semester.
This semester, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I think Elizabeth Krause, who's not with us, her classes are 8 weeks. So it's somewhat accelerated. So if you do feel a little bit overwhelmed, we hope not. We want to encourage you again to make sure you just chat with Roger and Tammy or Janet or Elizabeth, whoever your instructor is.
And we had a little bit of a question come up in the chat, Susan, and I'm hoping maybe you can help clarify.
Okay.
The healthcare leadership students should all be taking 307 instead of 300, correct?
Yes, if they're in the system under healthcare leadership, yes, they should be enrolled in Lead 307. And we can, there's plenty of time to do a drop add. So
Okay,
that student, yeah, as long as she's in healthcare leadership, just drop 300 and then just go in and add 307.
Okay, it sounds like
Yeah.
that's what we need to do for this one student, yeah. And
Yeah,
Elizabeth teaches all of our 307s, and they are 8 weeks, so.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Miller. Oh, sorry, Tammy. Yeah, thank you. Got it.
Yeah, I don't know why you would have been told to do 300, not 307, unless I know there are a couple of students who have a healthcare background but decided to do a track not healthcare. If you are doing the healthcare leadership track specifically, it should be 307. I do know there's at least one who was a nurse and said, she told me she absolutely did not want to do healthcare anymore. She wanted to do project management or something. So she will be off wherever in 300. That's fine. But if you're wanting to do healthcare leadership, you should be in 307. And like Susan said, there's still time, but double check that tonight if you're in healthcare leadership.
And you can check with your advisor tomorrow, or you can contact me directly and I can check in the system to just verify which track you're in.
And do you mind me asking which advisor told you students 300 instead of 307? Just I want to make sure we can make sure everybody's on the same page, basically. Okay. So we know who Patricia has, and then Ashley, if you can email me if you don't find it right away, just so I know who all I need to make sure we all are on the same page. I'd appreciate it.
Well, we're getting close to the time. Any additional questions from our group tonight? If not, we're going to have some fun and we're going to do Wheel of Names. Not sure how many of you guys have done this before. I'm going to share screen and we're going to draw for some swag. So, all right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Fantastic. So I use this a lot. I think it's more fun. And basically, we're going to draw 3 names, and I hope everybody's still on the call tonight. I might have a few not in here. I will do this fast. Okay. If you're on the telephone and you're a student, can you just turn your mic on and tell me what your name is?
Ebony Thomas.
Ebony, I got you. Okay. Got you added.
We have Patricia in the room with me. This is Mahala.
That's who it was, Patricia. All right, got it. All right. Now let me just refresh. All right, you guys ready?
Hey, this is Crystal Tuttle. Hey, I've been on the call, but I don't see my name on there.
Oh, Crystal, hold on a minute. Hold on. Let me redraw. Let me add you. Let me add you. Hold on. Hold on. This is, oh, shoot. Come on.
Thanks.
Crystal. All right. Now let me refresh. We're going to do this one more time. I need to be fair. Oh, Ebony. All right, Ebony, you're our first winner for tonight. I'll send you an email, okay? And I'll give you all the details. You're welcome. We're going to draw 2 more times. So these are swag bags, all kinds of fun stuff. Abigail, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Okay, you'll be getting an email from me tomorrow, okay? And our third and final winner for tonight is... All right, looks like it's Patricia. All right, Patricia, I need your last name, okay?
Collins.
Pardon?
Collins.
Owens?
Collins.
Collins, I'm so sorry. All right, thank you, and congratulations, all you winners. Let me get this back up. You're welcome. Any closing remarks from faculty, staff, or our students on the call, our ambassadors?
I'll defer to my colleagues before I give closing remarks.
I'm going to be cheesy. This is Tammy. I think you're all winners because you chose the program.
And I just add, this is Andrew, and you know, for the apprehension that you have, when you get in that class in that first week and you start doing the icebreakers on the introductions and you get to start seeing the varying backgrounds of everyone that's in there, it'll start setting things in motion for you. You've got single parents, you got stay-at-home moms, you've got all kinds of across the spectrum as far as what people are doing in this country. So, you know, hang on tight. It's going to be fun.
I love it.
Roger, Anastasia, anything from you all?
No, it's been rewarding to having some of my former students on the call. That's always fun. But yeah, you're entering a program that is adult learner friendly. We take into consideration that family, work, and then your education. It's in that order, and we understand that. So, but don't let things go too long until you make an inquiry with your instructor about what's happening in your life, because we will bend over backwards to help you through whatever crisis that you're going through. And I guarantee you, I teach 4 classes a semester, usually about 80, 90, 100 students. There's crisis every semester that I deal with, and that's fine. That's part of the job. And the same thing with our adjunct faculty. They will help you through any crisis that you could come in contact with. The average age, I think, is Randy, around about 38 or so. So you're dealing with maybe raising children and parents. You're kind of in that spectrum. So there's a lot of tugging going on in your life. So we will help you through anything that is a barrier to your performance.
Thank you, Roger. Well, I'll just share as program director in closing. Thank all of you again for just taking the time to attend this kickoff session around PLA, credit for prior learning. At the end of the day, know that you have tons of support to help you along in Lead 300 and 307. Thank you to all the instructors. Thank you to some of our alumni, who are able to give student perspectives. And most importantly, again, if there's anything that we can do, don't ever hesitate to reach out and email us, including me as the PD and Dr. Miller, who is the PD over healthcare leadership. And so you all enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, stay well. Happy New Year to you all again. And most importantly, be the difference that makes a difference. Take care.